Hi, good evening everybody and happy Independence Day. Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach from Jerusalem. Unfortunately, the last year wasn't great. Most of us couldn't leave our homes, couldn't travel, especially internationally, and in particular to the beautiful and amazing Jerusalem and Israel. So our team at the consulate, alongside with our friends and partner organizations, decided to use this 73rd Independence Day and take us all on a virtual tour of Israel. It's not going to be the same thing. We're going to be seeing it from our homes, but we hope it will both remind us of the beautiful sights and places in Jerusalem, the colors, the taste of Israel, the views, the valleys and mountains and seas, and also motivate us for, once this is all over, hop on a plane and just come visit here, like we say in Pesach, next year in Jerusalem. So thank you, happy Independence Day again, and see you next year in Jerusalem.
On behalf of the JCRC team, happy Independence Day, Israel. We're now going to travel alongside the 400 million birds who journey through Israel every year, from north to south, starting with the northernmost point in Israel, the Galilee. The Galilee is a popular destination for domestic and foreign tourists who enjoy the scenic, recreational, and gastronomic offerings there. The Galilee attracts many Christian pilgrims, as many of the miracles of Jesus occurred, according to the New Testament, on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. Additionally, numerous cities of biblical importance are located along the Galilee, such as Megiddo, Mount Tabor, Hazor, and more. A popular hiking trail known as Sea to Sea starts hikers of the Mediterranean who hike until their final destination, the Kinneret, or the Sea of Galilee. The Galilee is most famous for its delicious olives, pomegranates, wine, and especially lebne with za'atar, served with pita bread, meat stews, wine, pomegranates, and herbs such as akub, parsley, mint, fennel, and more.
Good evening, friends, and happy Independence Day, Israel. Chag Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach from all of us here at the Federation in the San Francisco Bay Area. As we continue our tour, we're still very much up in the north. In fact, in the northwestern corner, we find the beautiful, diverse city of Akko. Akko is one of the most magical and spiritual places in Israel, and one where I was fortunate to work on an archaeological dig many years ago. The city occupies an important location, sitting in a natural harbor at the extremity of Haifa Bay on the coast of the Mediterranean. Aside from coastal trading, it was also an important stopover on the region's coastal road and the road cutting inland along the Israel Valley. The first settlement during the early Bronze Age was abandoned after a few centuries, but a large town was established during the Middle Bronze Age. Continuously inhabited since then, it is among the oldest continuously inhabited settlements on Earth. In present-day Israel, the city's population is made up of Jews, Muslims, Christians, Druze, and Baha'is. In particular, Akko is the holiest city of the Baha'i faith in Israel and receives many pilgrims every year. Akko is also known for its rich culture. For example, Akko's Festival of Alternative Israeli Theater is an annual event that takes place in October, coinciding with the holiday of Sukkot. The festival provides a forum for non-conventional theater, attracting local and overseas theater companies.
Erev Tov, and happy 73 years Israel from AJC San Francisco. Our tour continues from one spiritual city to another. All you have to do is type Tzfat on your Waze, and 30 minutes later, while driving east from Akko and climbing the beautiful Galilee Mountains, you find yourself at this historic, one-of-a-kind city of Tzfat. Tzfat has been identified with Seth, a fortified town in the Upper Galilee, mentioned in the writings of the Roman Jewish historian Josephus. The Jerusalem Talmud mentions it as one of the 5 elevated spots where fires were lit to announce the new moon and festivals during the Second Temple period. Legend has it that Tzfat was founded by a son of Noah after the Great Flood. According to the Book of Judges, the area where Tzfat is located was assigned to the tribe of Naphtali. the town has retained its unique status as a Jewish studies center. Before 1948, most of Tzfat's Jewish population used to live in the northern section of the Old City. It is currently home to 32 synagogues. In the 1950s and 60s, Tzfat was known as Israel's art capital. An artist colony established in the old Arab quarter was a hub of creativity that drew artists from around the country. Nowadays, Tzfat has been hailed as the klezmer capital of the world, hosting an annual global klezmer festival.
As the chair of the San Francisco-Haifa Sister City Committee, it is my pleasure to talk to you about one of my favorite places in Israel, a place with many similarities to our beautiful city of San Francisco, a city of art, diversity, and a wide blue Mediterranean Bay, the city of Haifa. The city of Haifa has a history spanning more than 3,000 years. Haifa is situated on the Israeli-Mediterranean historic land bridge between Europe, Africa, and Asia. Located on the northern slopes of Mount Carmel and around the Haifa Bay, the city is split over 3 tiers. The lowest is the center of commerce and industry, including the port of Haifa. The middle level is on the slopes of Mount Carmel and consists of older residential neighborhoods, while the upper level consists of modern neighborhoods looking out over the bay. From the top of Mount Carmel, we can see the entire Western Galilee region of Israel towards Akko and even the Lebanese border. For the swimmers among us, you should know Haifa has a very large number of great beaches. Despite its image as a port and industrial city, Haifa is the cultural hub of northern Israel. It's home to over a dozen museums, the most popular being the Israel National Museum of Science, Technology, and Space. Haifa is also the center of the LGBTQ community in northern Israel and a true symbol of Jewish-Arab coexistence and diversity. Sound familiar?
From us here at Jewish Family and Children's Services, I would like to wish you all a happy 73rd Independence Day. Let me take you east to the rocky beaches and shallow waters that are a source of inspiration for poets and leaders throughout history. I chose to share with you the lyrics of the poem Kinneret, performed by Chava Alberstein and written by poetry legend Rachel and superstar composer Naomi Shemer. Here are the Golan Heights. Reach out and touch them. In trusting silence, they command, stop. In radiant solitude sleeps grandfather Mount Hermon, with a cold blow of freezing wind from his white summit. Here, on the edge of water, we find a hunching palm tree with a fuzzy hair like a naughty baby's, who slid down and splashed into the water. And in the waters of the Sea of Galilee, he waddled his feet. How many flowers will grow in winter on the slopes? Anemone blood and crocus gold. There are days when the green is 7-fold green, and azure the sky 70-fold.
Happy 73th year Israel and happy Yom Ha'atzmaut Be'era community. Many Israelis know it as the place to go to listen to their favorite artists. It's a charming site for history and leisure. My favorite time to visit it is during sunset. The ancient city of Caesarea was built by Herod the Great as a major port. It served as an administrative center of the province of Judea during the days when the Roman Emperor rules over Israel. The Caesarea Roman Theater often hosts concerts by major Israeli artists such as Shlomo Artzi, Yehudit Ravitz, Mashina, and international artists like Deep Purple, Bjork, and others. In recent years, the port has become home to the annual Caesarea Jazz Festival. Caesarea has one of the most beautiful beaches in Israel. Among the many famous residents of Caesarea, we can find the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu.
To my beloved Israel, I wish you a happy 73rd and pray for many more years of peace and prosperity. Even before Israel was founded in 1948, the White City was already vibrant, known as the city that doesn't stop. Tel Aviv is Israel's culture and energy center. 111 years after being nothing but dunes of sand. The city today is high on every global list for places to visit, celebrate pride, and to enjoy amazing beaches and fantastic food. Although founded in 1909 as a small settlement, Tel Aviv was envisaged as a future city from the start. Its founders hoped that Tel Aviv would become a modern city, inspired by such European cities as Odessa and Warsaw. When Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion declared Israeli independence in 1948, the population of Tel Aviv was just a little over 200,000. Tel Aviv is also famous for its Bauhaus architecture that was introduced in the 1930s by German Jewish architects in the city center. Until this very day, Tel Aviv contains more than 5,000 modern-style buildings inspired by this Bauhaus school. The city is also famous for its wide variety of excellent restaurants that offer traditional Israeli dishes as well as international fare. In Tel Aviv, there are some dessert specialties. The most well-known is halva ice cream, which is traditionally topped with date syrup and pistachios.
Dear community, we wish you all a happy and enjoyable Independence Day. Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach. North to south, west to east, across beautiful Israel. As beautiful as Israel is, the Talmud tells us the 10 measures of beauty came down to the world. Jerusalem received 9, and 1 was left for the rest of the world. So many songs, poems, and tales were written on Jerusalem, the city of inspiration and of holiness, and the city of light. And in the slumber of tree and stone, captured in her dream the city that sits solitary, and in its midst is a wall. Jerusalem of gold and of bronze and of light. Behold, I'm a violin for all your songs. Yerushalayim shel Zahav. On December 5th, 1949, Israel's first Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion proclaimed Jerusalem as Israel's eternal and sacred capital. And 8 days later, he reaffirmed that only the war had compelled Israeli leadership to establish the seat of government in Tel Aviv. While for the state of Israel and for the Jewish people, there has always been and always will be only one capital, Jerusalem the Eternal. This indeed took place, and since the beginning of 1950, all branches of the Israeli government, legislative, judicial, and executive, have resided in Jerusalem. The city is a home to the Knesset, to the government, and to the Supreme Court, and the official residence of the President and the Prime Minister. Although Jerusalem is known primarily for its religious and governmental significance, the city is also home to many artistic and cultural venues. Perhaps the best example is Israel Museum, located just across the street from the Knesset, and attracts nearly 1 million visitors a year. The museum complex comprises several buildings, features special exhibits, and extensive collection of Judaica, archaeological findings, and Israeli art. The Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in the mid-20th century in the Qumran caves near the Dead Sea, are housed in the museum shrine of the book.
We stay with the magic of Jerusalem, and my task now is to summarize the history of the city in 60 seconds or less. Easy, no? Throughout its long history, Jerusalem has been destroyed at least twice, besieged 23 times, captured and recaptured 44 times, and attacked 52 times. The part of Jerusalem called the City of David shows first signs of settlement during the 4th millennium BCE. It is one of the oldest cities in the world and considered holy to the 3 major Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. As a result, despite having an area of only 1 or less than 1 square mile, the Old City is a home to many sites of sentimental religious importance. Among them the Temple Mount with its western wall, Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Outside the Old City stands the Garden Tomb. Since 1860, Jerusalem has grown far beyond its old city's boundaries, and since 1981, the Old City has become a World Heritage Site. Jerusalem is also extremely diverse.
Happy Independence Day from all of us at the WZO Department for Irgun and Israelis Abroad, from our family to yours. Needless to say that Jerusalem is much more than history. The 2021 Jerusalem is a vibrant city of culture, sports, arts, amazing food, and great people. Jerusalem is also a home to large research and development centers of international tech companies, among them Intel, Cisco, Teva, IBM, Mobileye, Johnson & Johnson, and more. Time magazine picked Jerusalem as one of the top 5 emerging tech hubs in the world, proclaiming, "The city has become a flourishing center for biomed, clean tech, internet, mobile startups, accelerators, investors, and supporting services providers." Jerusalem is home to prestigious university, offering courses in Hebrew, Arabic, and English. The most famous is the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. The university has been ranked among the top 100 schools in the world. Other famous institutions of higher learning are the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance and the Bezalel Academy of Art and Design. Next time you visit, take the 24-mile Jerusalem Trail, a hiking trail that goes to many cultural sites and national parks in and around the city. And do not miss the Jerusalem Biblical Zoo that was ranked constantly as one of the Israelis' top tourist attractions.
Happy 73rd Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel. David Ben-Gurion once said, "The state of Israel to exist must go south." And so, Jewish National Fund heeded his advice and headed south more than 2 decades ago.
Israel is a small country, and did you know that 62% of its land is occupied by the Negev Desert? The origin of the word Negev is from the Hebrew root dry. The Negev is a rocky desert. It is a mix of brown, rocky, dusty mountains interrupted by wadis. Visitors enjoy a unique view of an untouched vastness, silent and majestic. There are traces of past civilizations and their agriculture as well as archaeological sites. Nomadic life in the Negev dates back at least 4,000 years and perhaps as much as 7,000. As part of its Blueprint Negev campaign, Jewish National Fund USA is focused on efforts to attract and retain new residents to the Negev and develop cities and communities throughout, from the bustling city of Be'er Sheva to Yerucham, the Arava, and the Bedouin communities.
As the director of Iran's Silicon Valley, Israel's emotional first aid through telephone and internet, I am happy to take you to one of Israel's most famous health benefiting locations, the Dead Sea, Yam HaMelach. The Dead Sea is the lowest place on earth, 428 meters below sea level, and the shortlist candidate for the world's 7 natural wonders. It's a place of tranquility, health, and inspiration for body and soul alike. The Dead Sea has attracted visitors from around the Mediterranean basin for thousands of years. It was one of the world's first health resorts for Herod the Great, and it has been the supplier of a wide variety of products ever since. The unique mineral composition of the water, mud, and the atmospheric pressure have been shown to improve inflammatory conditions like psoriasis, acne, and even arthritis. In addition, with 330 sunny days a year, the Dead Sea area is filled with superb attractions. This includes natural healing spas, magnificent hiking trails, gourmet and fast food restaurants, and adrenaline-charged attractions.
Happy Yom Ha'atzmaut. Happy Independence Day, Israel, from the Oshman Family JCC, your family here in Palo Alto, California. Our tour in the Negev now continues to one of Israel's most popular sites, Masada. Located on a beautiful plateau, it is a rare archaeological site which tells a memorable Jewish story. Masada is an ancient fortification in Israel's southern district, situated on top of an isolated rock plateau. It is located on the eastern edge of the Judean desert overlooking the Dead Sea. Herod the Great built 2 palaces for himself on the mountain and fortified Masada between 37 and 31 BCE. Masada is best known for the siege of Masada, one of the final events in the First Jewish-Roman War. Now, according to the Jewish historian Josephus, the long siege by the troops of the Roman Empire led to the mass suicide of the Sicarii rebels and the Jewish families of the Masada fortress. The pledge by the Zealots' leader, Elazar ben Yair, on the last night of freedom has entered immortality. He cried, "It is still in our power to die bravely and in a state of freedom." The story of what occurred 2 millennia ago atop Masada has become a symbol of Israelis' commitment to never allow Masada to fall again. And more than 50 years after the excavation, Masada is, after Jerusalem, the most visited site in Israel.
Last but not least, our journey ends in Eilat. Eilat is the southernmost town in Israel, isolated from the rest of the country by the Negev Desert. Founded in 1949 and incorporated in 1959, it is Israel's only outlet to the beautiful Red Sea, Indian Ocean, and Far East. Within this small window on the Red Sea, and since the sun practically always shines in Eilat, it is first and foremost a resort town, devoted to sun, fun, diving, partying, and desert-based activities. The main attraction of Eilat is scuba diving in the Red Sea, one of the world's most spectacular underwater preserves. Thank you so much for joining this quick tour of Israel. We are honored and privileged to be able to celebrate Israel's Independence Day with all of you. As the Haggadah we just finished reading says, next year in Jerusalem. Thank you and goodbye.